You have to feel for Joe Root, really. He's been left like a man on a burning deck with a ship sinking all around him. He's been truly outstanding as a batsman in the runs that he's scored. I think it's the third in a calendar year of all time. So he has led by example, and he is a great example for or everyone in that dressing room to learn off, particularly the batsman. He's got a very simple technique. And he does the basics so well. You'd think that they'd be talking to him about how he goes out and plays and his mentality. He's a great role model to learn off. But unfortunately, the players around him haven't been up to the mark. And that's why I think when you look at his position as captain, you have to feel very sympathetic for him. I don't think he's necessarily tactically our best captain that we've ever had. And so he will have to take his share of responsibility in terms of the strategy, the selections and things like that, which right from ball one, England haven't got those decisions right. But equally, I think Joe needs some support, and that needs to come from the people above him at ECB. And people have mentioned about a reset for red ball cricket. Absolutely. We need to have a good hard look at how we're going to help Joe Root if he continues as captain, or whoever is Test captain. How are we going to help produce better players for Test cricket?
Do you think, Mark, at this point that he should continue as Test captain, also bearing in mind just the impact that he has had with the bat? Can that affect the batting, that he's got the captaincy weighing on his shoulders as well? Is Joe Root the best person going forward in terms of the squad, but also just for his own performance?
Well, he's got to weigh up the energy levels. I mean, he's been in the job for 4 to 5 years now, and it takes an incredible amount of energy to not only play your own game as fantastically well as he has done, but also to galvanise the people around you. And the job is very demanding. Of course, you've got so many things that you have to contribute, not least media interviews and things like that, 20 minutes after or just at the toss, and then 20 minutes later, you're preparing to bat. So there's so many things to attend to as captain. If he has the drive and desire and the energy to carry on, then I would stick with him. I think he's got tremendous pride. He's got a lot of attributes as a captain. He's incredibly popular as a bloke. He's got a great sense of humour. He brings people together. So for those reasons, I'd like to see him stay on. But I think he needs some help. And in terms of that reset, I think he needs a coach, a director of cricket with a vision and a strategy to look at how we can help produce better players. I mean, people in the ECB are openly saying that county cricket is not an indicator of whether people have test match credentials as players. Now, if your domestic competition, if people within the ECB think that about their own domestic competition, what chance have we got? So, the scheduling, I mean, these are things that are not new. I did an interview on Sky in 2018 when I was out in the West Indies, saying exactly these things about the scheduling, bookending the season in April, county championship cricket being played in April and September. ECB have prioritised white ball cricket. They've given it the best months of the year, in terms of the T20 blast. And now, of course, this new competition, the 100. And the rhetoric coming out of the ECB is that actually people don't want Test cricket. The youngsters want something new and exciting. And that if they get involved with that, then it may help Test cricket. I'm not convinced. And I think that if you go and look at a lot of the young professional players around the country, they are concentrating a lot on their white ball skills and not the requirements that are needed for Test match cricket.
The start of the end of Test match cricket being the pinnacle in this country, Mark, at this point, do you think that people growing up watching the game are now going to be solely focused on the shorter forms, whether that be the one-dayers, the T20s, or even the 100 now, seeing as that they've been growing up around this success from the last decade? And let's just say it has been a massively successful decade for England in the shorter formats of the game. Do you see that completely taking over from Test cricket now? Is that a good or bad thing, or neither?
Well, I have always hoped that Test cricket could coexist with the short format. And there's lots of things to like about the short format. I suppose one of the indicators is you only have to look at the squad that was selected for the T20 matches coming up in the Caribbean. And that was a squad that didn't include any other players out in Australia. And you look at that squad, and there is lots of good young talent who have had quite a lot of T20 experience. So there's almost an oversupply of T20 options for the England one-day side. You contrast that with Test cricket, and we are scratching around for potential options, especially a top-order batting. And that is something that has been hugely affected by county championship cricket being played on April the 5th and in the first few weeks of the season, and then not much of it played in July, August. So it's not just top order batting. There's also spin bowling. Jack Leach can't get a game in an English summer. What hope has he got to then go overseas and perform? We're making life very, very difficult for ourselves. So yes, I'd love to see a real hard look at how we can redress the balance, because England since 2015 have had very much a white ball focus. People at the ECB are awarding themselves bonuses, large bonuses for implementing the new 100 and the new and the white ball competitions. But actually, this is a real slap in the face to see this series being lost in the fashion that it has been. But actually, it's not a surprise, because it's been coming because of the way things have been going, and Test cricket has been marginalised over the last few years.
Yeah. Oh. The manner of the defeat, Mark, and the manner of the batting throughout the series so far, how would you, someone who had so much experience in the county game and broke numerous records in the county game and then moved on to coaching, is this a side that you would like to get involved with coaching-wise and implement your ideas, or do you just look at it and think, I'm not quite sure what they need right now, or is it a complete overhaul?
Well, let me just say, Joe Root touched on it, and I would agree. Every player associated or in that squad is absolutely hurting right now. They will feel humiliated. They feel they've let themselves down, their family down, England cricket fans down. So sometimes when you miss a straight ball early in your innings, you can't show people how much you're trying, how much you've trained and prepared. So you've got to have a lot of sympathy for the players, particularly the younger ones like Hasib Hamid, Zach Crawley, Ollie Pope. These are good young players. They've got good techniques and good temperaments, but they have been put in very, very early. When you contrast that with the emergence of, say, Michael Vaughan, Marcus Trescothick, Andrew Strauss, they all came in their mid-20s, around 26, 27, when they'd had a lot of good county cricket behind them. They knew their game, and they made the step up to international cricket. There are exceptions like Alistair Cook, who was outstanding at 21, but by and large, batters start to know their game around about the mid-20s. And these young players have been put in very, very young at the top of the order against high-class fast bowling on bowler-friendly pitches. That is not easy. So we need to have some patience. I do think they have huge potential, but I think there's a vacuum above them. What I mean by that is James Vince scored an excellent 80 at the Gabba 4 years ago. And you'd hope that those people like James Vince, Sam Robson, Mark Stoneman, that they would go back to county cricket and get better and perhaps come again in their mid to late 20s. But there's a vacuum of players. We haven't gone back to them. And I think there's far too many players who are thinking, actually, Test cricket, it's really, really hard work. I can earn more money if I practice my white ball skills and go to various competitions around the world. And I think there's, as I say, there's an oversupply of one-day cricketers, but actually we're looking around the 18 counties and say, what are realistic options to go out and play international cricket against India, New Zealand and Australia? There aren't as many players. We don't have the depth that we used to have.